Hi guys, and welcome back to another video. Today we're going to be doing something a little bit different. For those that don't know, I run the LoR report, so I am the classified as press and can get some early access to some stuff for the LoR report, the Runeterra report, if you would. So one of the things that I've been given access to this past week is the rotation list. So this isn't going to be my first reaction because the main priority for my press access is to make all of the graphics and make stuff easier for people to understand, or just make stuff easier to find. That was my main goal. So one of the things I think I do really well in is rotation, because of the way that Riot does it. It's a lot of time that you have to do to show the stuff. So they do it the very easy way, which no offense to them, it's probably better for them to do that way and to focus on other areas where people like me can come in and then make it better. So with that being said, we have rotation today. This will be going out on Monday, hopefully, as long as nothing changes. Monday at 10 PM for me, 2 PM for the people over at Riot. And yeah, you're going to be able to see everything I can see here. It's just currently password locked and under a different URL on the website so that no one can actually find it. But you should be able to go to the lorreport.com/rotation-2024 and you'll be able to get to this page that you can see right here. And we're going to be talking about the rotation. So as you can see here, it's a lot more than we thought we were going to get. I spoke to John Mormon, who was a dev who was working on rotation. He's now been relocated to a new Riot Games R&D division. But John, I love you, man. You are such a cool guy, and it was good to meet you when I was in LA. And he has worked on rotation for this year. Not just him, with other people, but he seems to be one of the leaders in that area. So yeah, we're just going to go through and we're going to talk about which cards are rotating out of standard and the cards that are rotating in a standard. Now, a lot of us thought it was going to be one in, one out. And as you can see, we were very wrong. Bandle City is always going to have more, but the average is for each region, there's 3. 3 that are leaving, 1 returning. So, you're gonna get some surprises if you haven't seen this already. But let's start with Bandle City. This video, by the way, probably going to be long, so ×2 speed, get some popcorn, grab a drink, go to the toilet, because there's a lot of stuff that we need to talk about. So, first things are champions that we're going to go through. So, Fizz and Yuumi being the 2 problematic and annoying ones to deal with for champions, mainly because they work best together. Because Yumi's consistently growing, she's going to give you stats on the unit, and with the unit being Fizz that gets elusive after a spell, yeah, very, very difficult to deal with. So what we're going to be, with the rotation of this, Fizz Yuumi decks, gone in standard. There will not be, well, looking at it now, there is no attachments in standard anymore. We have equipment, a little bit, we'll get onto that a little bit later. But yeah, so they've kind of been taken away. So no more attachments, only equipment. It was a problematic deck, which was really, see, I think that was the only time Fizz really got played off the top of my head. But on the bright side, there's no more Teemo Yuumi. Teemo Yuumi elusives gone as well. So we'll finish that part of that. Is very good. I like to see that. Next one is Veigar. So Darkness taking a hit. I will say now that Senna is also going. So the entire Darkness package has been rotated. Honestly, Darkness was a very controversial deck. It's had its times where basically there's the 2-mana 3/2 that got nerfed to a 2/2 during some month. And so yeah, they've just decided that, hey, we'll rotate it for a while. It's not really seen much play because when it is meta prevalence, it becomes a problem. So yep, they've kind of just said for this year, you don't have to deal with Darkness. Maybe they'll buff up the deck. Maybe they might do some buffs. I don't know what the plan is for standard yet. Maybe I can reach out to Eric and see if he can get a comment on that. But yeah, we'll see what's going on. And we move on to Heimerdinger. Now, the tech archetype got really hindered with the nerf to Jace and the tech that no longer grows in health. I can't remember if that got rotated. We'll see when we go on to that part. But maybe they'll buff it up again and say, look, it's Eternal. You can expect some changes there. So yeah, maybe we'll see that. But for one, I'm quite happy about this change. I really disliked the fact that the deck that this was for was the 6 cost spells, and the turret that was 6 cost was elusive. It made it very difficult to deal with. Mid-range decks really struggled a lot against this, which is what I play a lot and what I enjoy. So I'm happy to see that it's gone. With the then we then move on to, you can only just about see it. Maybe if I can make my webcam a little bit smaller. There we go. Yeah, Lulu is coming back into Standard, which impacts both Bandle City and Ionia. Might have got a teaser there for one that I'm very excited for, by the way. Yeah, so Lulu is kind of an aggro Ionia, like giving like a 1/1 +3/+3 temporarily is a very powerful turn 3 and can be bit of a problem. So yeah, we'll see how she does. I'm not a massive Lulu fan, but you know what? It's a nice one to see. Yeah, I think that's what I want to talk about for that. So we'll move on to the next one, where basically everything in this package is kind of interesting. So we've already talked about Fizz, but yeah, let's move on to Nami. So Nami got changed with her level up text, which this bit here, from spell mana banked to playing spells when Nami is in play. And yeah, she never really saw any play. They they buffed it from 6+ spells to 5+ spells. She saw a little bit more play, but nothing great. And then they gave her level 2 back the +2/+1. Yeah, but Bilgewater doesn't have a lot of protection spells, so it was hard to keep Nami on the board to like get this. But yeah, so they're rotating her. Maybe they just fully revert her if they have planned to do that. It's something they didn't do last time, where like they took stuff to Eternal and then just didn't revert or didn't buff. So maybe they just do with the staff's last role on the team was, look, we're gonna be moving stuff. You can nerf them now or buff them now, and we'll see. But yeah, Nami, hopefully she reverts back and can live her best life in Eternal. We then move on to Pyke. All I'm going to say is, short and sweet, fuck Lurk. I am so incredibly happy that Lurk has gone. Literally, it felt like in Standard, you could go every 10 games, you might run into 2-3 Lurk players. And it's just like, it's just the same thing every single game, and it's just not fun to play against. So yeah, fuck Lurk, goodbye. You will not be missed on my behalf. However, as you can see from the YouTube videos, I did enjoy playing Pyke when he was not with Rek'Sai. Like using the not Death from Below, it's the Ripper's Bay. Ripper's Bay landmark is kind of interesting. I say kind of, it is very interesting for a deck. Lots of fun with that. But when you have Rek'Sai, it's the same thing every game, so goodbye. And then Gangplank is returning. Yeah, this is a bit of an interesting one. I think if you look at them though, you had Tarm, you had Gangplank, and you had Twisted Fate. So Gangplank is really the only one that I could see them being happy to rotate in. And it makes sense. It was a champion who was very powerful when he was in Standard, and he will 100% see play in Standard, without a doubt. So yeah, very, very powerful champion. Yeah, and we'll see what goes on next. My region. This is Demacia is my favourite region for those that don't know. Lucian has never really seen any play. Like, I tried to make him work. He's just, as a 1-cost 2/1, there's not much you can do to like try and get him to do stuff. Like, he's very impactful, but he's so weak that like anything can stop him. Like a Pythos, like 1 damage pings is yeah, it's a lot. So I was expecting him to get rotated, and because he has, I'm not surprised. Quinn, well, bear in mind, I was expecting 1 in, 1 out. So Quinn going is interesting. Quinn really only saw play in, well, she had 2 decks really. She had Quinn and MF, which was just scouts, known as scouts. And yeah, we just won't have that anymore. Scouts kind of fell off a little bit, but like it was still powerful. It's still extremely powerful. I brought it to the last Runeterra Open, managed to get into the day 2, and yeah, it's just a solid deck. Championship was really strong with this deck, especially with Quinn. For Demacia to buff up Quinn and Valor. So yeah, very interesting to see Quinn is going. But yeah, now we move on to the next one, which is we lost an elite. No, but to be fair, Jarvan was extremely powerful, and still is. I was expecting him to get nerfed, but he never really did. So yeah, we're just gonna not have Jarvan anymore, which is, some mid-range decks aren't going to but like, you know, he's very powerful, and it's going to be very different to see Demacia play without a Jarvan. He was like, hey, I need like a strong champion for this region, and normally Jarvan was that pick. So yeah, we'll see what happens. But now we move on to rotating in with Fiora, which is very, very interesting. Fiora has, well, historically has been a very problematic champion for both the game and Demacia. So she'll come back as a 4/4. Historically, she was a 3-mana 3/3. Then they nerfed her to a 3-mana 3/2. She never saw any play, so they gave her a 4-mana 4/4. And I'd just say she's in an okay spot right now. Maybe in standard she's like actually strong because of other cards being taken in, taken out, or cards that just don't exist in that mode from last year. But yeah, I will be building some Fiora decks. So you can look out for that. I last played her with Shen, but yeah, maybe we can cook up some different decks. So next one. Oh, okay. So there's a thing that I need to talk about here, which is Rico Rex is basically a Freljord enjoyer, and Rico Rex has said that he was going to be playing Legends of Runeterra basically until the servers go off. And then, like, they just rotated, like, his 3 champions. Like, all of these champions are just Overwhelm champions, and they rotated them out. So, I think there's going to be a comment from him that's like, okay, Battle Fury's gone, Tryndamere's gone, I'm out of here. Because, yeah, this means that Battle Fury's gone, by the way. Like, I know it is, so I'll spoil that now. So, the Rico Rex card has gone. But yeah, Ude, incredibly strange that he's being rotated, considering he just got his buff and he just got the Blade-bound Berserker, aka Bethany, added into standard. So clearly there's a change here. There is an article going out that I've not seen yet. So I might message John just to see why Ude was chosen, especially with support coming out and his recent buff to a 5/5. It does seem like a bit of an odd timing, but hey, we're changing stuff up. Sejuani, so GP's in, Sejuani's out, which is one thing I was kind of worried about because GP Sejuani was incredibly powerful. It was mainly powerful because of Ude's champion spell, which is Spirit Walker, I think it's called. I think? I don't know. Don't test me on that one. I think I'm wrong there, but it's something Spirit. Spirit's Unleashed. Aha, it's Spirit's Unleashed. So yeah, the fact that that's not in standard, you probably could have existed, a pair of them, but they were extremely powerful deck. And yeah, another Overwhelm that has been taken. So we move on to Tryndamere. Tryndamere, honestly, maybe one of the worst champions in the game. He's from Foundations. His text is interesting, but there's so many things that can counter it. It's just, no. He was too slow, and yeah, he just became a 9/9 fearsome, tough, and Overwhelm. So didn't really do much. But yep, I kind of expected him to get rotated. But yeah, no more of those. And Braum is coming back. Braum, interesting that you could do the Poro King now. Poro King Braum in standard, which might actually be pretty good. Especially with like cards going. There's a potential that you might want to play a slower deck like that. Braum's very powerful. So yeah, we'll just see what happens. Remember, for those that didn't know, this man used to have 1 attack, and people were like, nah, that 1 attack's not gonna do anything, and he became the most annoying card to deal with and just play around for like 2 to 4 weeks before he immediately got nerfed again. So Braum, very, very dangerous. But I'll bring him back up in a moment because we need to talk about the Ionia cards. Ari's going, which is not a surprise, she had no support cards left, and they didn't print anything really for her over the last year, so she's left. If Margin Bay was still playing this game, he would be sad, but I don't think he's going to care now. Zed. So Gwen Zed, no longer going to be a meta-defining deck because they've lost part of the package. So it would be interesting to see, you'll see later on, what that deck does now. But yeah, kind of interesting. It was very early aggro ephemeral support. So yeah, we'll see what happens there. And we have been so lucky that Karma has been removed from Standard. And potentially we never have to play against a Karma set player ever again. And you don't understand how happy that makes me. Karma set was maybe one of the only times I truly like hated a deck. It was just so incredibly annoying to play against. 10 mana, they just win the game on the spot. So yeah, I'm happy that it's gone. Karma limited design space for spells, obviously. So interesting to see what's being printed for Ionia this year, because clearly they're planning for stuff. So Karma being rotated, maybe there's a lot of spells being printed that if you double them up could be extremely problematic. So we'll have to look at that. We've already talked about Lulu, but the return of Yasuo. Going to be interesting because there's no Katarina. Spoiler. No Katarina in Standard, so yeah, we'll just have to see what happens to Yasuo. He was extremely powerful and meta-prevalent just before the first rotation with Katarina and Yasuo, so we'll see what happens. So yeah, very interesting to see how he's going to do. And here we go. Firstly, I just want to talk about Vladimir first, because this goes back to Braum. So we have Scargrounds back in Standard, which is pretty good. I really like Scargrounds as a deck. So it'll be interesting to see how it does in Standard. Vladimir got his... He got reverted... he got rotated completely, well, reworked. He got his line of techs, which is extremely powerful, by the way. So this is going to be annoying to deal with. But yeah, I'm very happy that he's back with all of his followers again. Scargrounds comes back, so definitely going to be playing that. And yeah, we'll see how it goes. But Riven, surprisingly, it had more presence this year than I would like to give credit for. Like, as someone said Riven, I'm like, yeah, she was never really good. But when we had Enraged Fire Spitter meta, which was just how many Enraged Fire Spitters can you run, Riven was one of the decks, and it was very strong. So Riven, I think, did an excellent job, and we're just giving her a time to rest now. So it'll be interesting to see what happens there. LeBlanc is being rotated. So Ashe LeBlanc players, like I say, I play mid-range, so I like my LeBlanc. Honestly, I'm kind of surprised. Yeah, maybe we'll see a different Ashe deck rise up. For like Noxus Freljord, but yeah, LeBlanc has gone. And Darius, this is another one. Ricorex, he's lost his Darius as well. So Stars Gnar, that's like really the only other one card that's really left for the decks he makes. So yeah, we'll just see. But Darius, kind of like Tryndamere, just very simple. He's very simple, but like his design, I feel like is just solid. It's just like, well, you're hitting face. Darius is coming down to make sure that you hit face even harder. But yeah, next one. Praise the Lord as well. I'm sorry, but like this, she needs to go. She needed to go. She needed to go a long time ago. It's just a shame that they brought her out literally like a month before the rotation. Well, it was 3 months before the first rotation. But yeah, there's no Karma, there's no Seraphine. There is something going on with spells in this year that Riot have like planned. So something is cooking up. At least in Standard, I don't have to hit like yeah. So we're gonna chill. We're gonna enjoy our time with no spells. It is truly the mid-range meta. We spoke about Heimerdinger, and yeah, Vi's coming back, which is interesting because Jax still is in Standard. However, there's no timelines. I don't think timelines got brought back. We'll look at the list, but I'm fairly sure I didn't see timelines. Which means maybe Vi gets a good amount of play, especially if we're going into a mid-range meta. She comes down as like a 5-mana, like 7/4 most of the time. You keep her in your opening hand. So we'll see what happens. But yeah, PNZ didn't get much changed, apart from Seraphine out. Basically, it's Seraphine out and Vi in, because Heimerdinger hasn't seen play for a little bit after the Jace changes, and that deck changes. But yeah, so happy Seraphine's gone. Very intrigued to see how Vi does. Okay, big one for Shadow Isles. I think we'll talk about these two first. Thresh and Hecarim coming in. I think this is the only region that has 2 champions, excluding Ionia, because Ionia has Lulu because of Bandle City. So, fairly sure this was the only region with 2, and it's because they have decided that they're rotating out Darkness, and Nocturne has gone because the Fearsome archetype in Standard was just killed. They potentially brought it back for one patch with the Chained Caster, and yeah, it just never really saw any play. So Nocturne's gone, he never really saw any play. Kalista, a really interesting champion. I think it just falters to the Foundation's design. And yeah, she just didn't see any play really. So but not really gonna, this isn't gonna really impact. Senna was used for like Senna Nasus, which was one deck that I really liked. It was like one of the control decks that like Fastigate. I loved it. It was very fun. Not Darkness as much, but Fastigate. Yeah, gonna miss. Talking about the Z change, we have Hecarim back, which is just the Ephemeral deck. So maybe we see Gwen Hecarim as a deck, with like Hecarim as the late game finisher, turn 6. So yeah, interesting. And Thresh returns. So the Slay archetype, we have Mordekaiser still. So Thresh is gonna come into play, and he's gonna do his thing. Summon in Mordekaiser from the deck. I remember one of the decks was an Aurelian Soul Thresh. So it's going to be very interesting to see him return. You forget how much of a problem he is until you play against him in Eternal. You're like, oh, wait a minute, yeah, this guy exists, and he is a problem. But yeah, very, very interesting change for Standard. Okay. So, first one is Rek'Sai. We already knew Lurk had gone, so rest in piss, goodbye. Rek'Sai was the problem for Lurk, as I feel, because blind Rek'Sais, or just hitting a Rek'Sai, was just like, it did so much for the deck, that, yeah, like I said, if you hit one on blind on turn 1, you basically just won the game on the spot. It was very hard to stop it. We already knew of Akshan. Akshan was becoming a problem with Glaive, so they have rotated Akshan. We've known this one since December. It was like the first reveal that we had for rotation. So a lot of viewers have just accepted this guy's going, but a surprise one is Renekton, because now there is only 2 of the Ascended left in Standard. We have Azir and we have Nasus. Potentially that's because they're buffing some stuff for, or releasing cards that are going to help that archetype in Standard, which makes it just like an insane deck in Eternal. But yeah, Renekton out, and good old Sivir returning. God, you don't understand how much fun I used to have with Sivir LeBlanc, Akshan Sivir. Like, Sivir's design is just so fun, of like sharing keywords and everything like that. So very interested to see how she performs coming back into the format. But yeah, I'm gonna miss Akshan because I played him a lot, and he was one of the champions I used to get to Masters for this expansion that we're currently playing in. But yeah. Okay. Oh, sorry. I forgot about this. Yes. So ignore the thing about Shadow Isles being the one with 2, because Taric is returning. I'll be a little bit more happy once we get to the bit later on. Taric is returning, and this is because we're getting 2 champions here because we got 4 leaving. Diana, Nightfall package just wasn't working. Exactly the same reasoning for Nocturne. Get her out. Goodbye. Yuumi, we've already talked about Yuumi. Get her gone. Goodbye. Pantheon, re-rolling keywords, basically it's just an RNG card, and yeah, it's just clearly they wanted to get him out. Maybe they're going to print some stuff in the year. But Pantheon was quite a enjoyable card to play. working towards him, growing his stats, like being a 3-2. You're like, okay, but yeah, by the time you play him, by the time you start using cards on him and he's growing, he's like a 10-9, 11-10. Like, you get to the point where it's like, oh, I can't really not ignore this guy anymore. Like, I have to use something to kill him. Spell shields in the region. If you went like Action Pantheon, you had like spell shields and you had deniers. So yeah, no more Pantheon, which is gonna be interesting. And Kayle has gone. I used to play so much Kayle with both elites and Bard, Kayle, Yuumi, which I won't be able to do anymore. Bard, Kayle, Yuumi was like my evil deck that I like to play. It was like, hey, this deck is never gonna win, but I have so much fun playing it because it was just an elusive deck. And it was like, I just want to play Kayle, and it was the only deck I actually enjoyed. But she just wasn't good. That was the thing. Kayle really, really suffered. So we'll just have to see how she does. Maybe they buff her when they rotate her. I don't know. We'll have to see. But yeah, Kayle, Pantheon, Yuumi, and Diana all gone. Aphelios is returning, so the people that lost Seraphine and Karma normally like Aphelios, so they can praise the gods that he's returned. But yeah, Aphelios comes back, all the moon weapons. We'll just have to see how he does. I assume he's just going to be as strong as he was before he left, because not much changed, and it's because his card was just insanely good anyway. But yeah, and Taric comes back. Taric Poppy was probably one of my... It probably is one of my top 3 decks. I just enjoy the deck so much. The rallying, trying to keep the units alive just enough so that you can attack again, and like keep the support chain going and everything like that. Oh, chef kiss. I love that deck. So maybe I think I'm gonna have to try and cook a Taric deck when we return in Standard to see what we can play. Okay, big one here. Runeterra champions. They have rotated out Bard, which I'm not surprised. I thought they were going to rotate Bard. Rise makes sense. This guy may be the most annoying deck to deal with because landmark removal is not plentiful in this game. And even if you remove it, he just replaces it really easily. So, yeah, not a fan of this card. Not a fan of the deck archetype. However, I will confirm that with Rise going, Tellstones are gone. There are no Tellstones in Standard right now, which is definitely going to be interesting. So, yeah, that is... Rise going, sure, get him out. I just do not want to see this guy. Tellstones going is pretty impactful. Varus, Kayn, and Aatrox. So I think most of the cultists are going, if not all of them. So very surprised about this. The most surprising thing is I'm fairly sure that Aatrox takes away every single Darkin. I think. So I'll have to just double check. But yeah, I think Aatrox takes every single Darkin with him. So we'll just double check, and I'll have to double check the card, the list that Riot have provided for Standard. But yeah, so very interesting. Varus was probably one of the... I think Varus was very sleeper OP, but with the change with Momentous, it really, really impacted him. So yeah, he kind of fell off after that. But yeah, Kayn didn't really see that much play, and Aatrox was just known as being strong last year. It was just an Aatrox deck being top tier of the meta was just insane. So pretty big changes here, and everything else here is just like, okay, you didn't really see them as much. But also another Rico Rex card that got hit because he likes to play Bard. Okay, and then we loop back around. So I'm just making sure I have not missed anyone here. No, I think that is everything. So what we can do now is we can move down to the next section, which if I just do it very slowly. So the following cards will be rotated out of Standard and will only be playable in the Eternal format. So let me click a card and then we don't ruin it. So Mina Swiftfoot. I'll just do these really briefly, by the way, because there are 303 cards here. So I'm going to try and keep this video under an hour. So I'm going to keep this as brief as I can for most cards. I'll probably name the deck it impacts and the level of severity on meta. Mina Swiftfoot was only in the ramp deck with Eddie. You didn't see it a lot. I don't think it's going to be that much of a miss. We have already talked about Karma. Insight of Ages, no one cares about. Mage Seeker Jr. was the card chosen by Boulevard. I was expecting Riot to do this themselves, and yes, even though he was a Demacia card, he was extremely powerful for 3 mana, and I think everyone's going to like this. Very, very impactful that this card is no longer in the meta. Opulent Foyer, Gwen card, Gwen support. So Gwen is staying, but Opulent Foyer is going, which is kind of crazy. So yeah, very, very surprised this is going. The meta impact for this is quite impactful. Gwen is going to struggle in Standard now. We'll see if they're printing something for Hallowed maybe in this expansion. Very impactful. Utter Devastation, it's a cultist card. I was probably the person that played this card the most, because I brought this during Warden of the Tribes meta, because nobody played around it. It was great. They slammed Warden down on turn 8, and you could bank 2 mana and then play... you'd bank 3 mana and then play this, and you'd have all of your board, and they would have nothing. It was a great card. Extremely overpriced, but I don't think it'll be missed. Shape of Fear, I don't really think it's already played, so not much meta impact, but some decks did play it. Forsaken Bakai, extremely meta prevalent, but it's cultist, it gets taken with the Varus and Kane changes, so quite impactful. So, yep. Curse of the Tomb, another card that Rico Rex, they just really do not want to see Rico Rex be happy in Standard anymore. Didn't really see much play, but yeah, sure. Altar of Blood, meme card, but they taken away Darking cards, so I'm not surprised there. Swinging Glaive is kind of huge because Akshan's going as well, but I thought that they were going to keep Glaive in, because I thought it was just that Akshan was the problem. No, they were just like, no, we're taking this entire archetype, so goodbye. Very impactful. Rock Bear Shepherd is extremely impactful. This card was used in a lot of decks. So the fact that this can't even be in Standard now for like Sun Disc and stuff is very, very interesting. Very, very impactful. Very surprised. Yeah. Priestess of the Desert Light was a meme card. Didn't really see much play. There was the one deck after Eddie got released, but yeah, didn't really see much play. So I'm not that bothered about this one. This is like a C for meta presence. If that was a C, this card is probably an F. This card never saw any play. Basically, it was 1 mana, choose like 1 mana to draw this, to basically choose the card it was going to be from your deck. So it was pretty bad. Okay, Champion Strength, I loved. For a Demacia card, I loved that this card existed. This, by the way, this is the old version, because when I uploaded the images, I forgot to download them. There's so many now that I won't be able to change it. But yeah, no, this card became a problem the moment it was printed. It was 8 mana. It had, if you also have the attack token now, give everything Scout. Then it just became a problem with elusives and everything else. When we were at the Invitational, there was a, what card would you rotate yourself? And I wanted it to be Champion Strength. Champion Strength ruined the reputation of Demacia. Is like everyone gave it a bad name because of how powerful it was. And I hated people using it in elusives, so I was going to sacrifice this. So to see it was here, I was so happy. But yeah. Unforgiving Cold was the Cultist Belt, so not surprised. But it did see a little bit of play, but put this on a B. Shimon Wind, I can't remember the last time someone played this, to be fair, in like a meta deck. But, you know, it was an impactful card for a time being, so probably a B here for impactfulness. Shadowblade Fanatic, another cultist. Like most of the cultist cards, they didn't really see play, so there's not much to say on them. But like, sure, it got rotated. The Black Flame, it was basically just a meme card to get summon effects off multiple times. Aragorn was known because he brought it to the Worlds for when he was when he won the title. He did it with Ziggs Talia, Black Flame. So, yep, that's gone now. Wandering Shepherd, mainly used in Pantheon and Varus, to like get the keywords onto like Scout onto Pantheon after they took it away from Generatable. Yeah, not surprised really. Kale, we already know. Purifying Flames is a KO card. Was extremely powerful in elusives before it had to be nerfed to what it is now. Winged Messenger is a KO card, so I'm not surprised. Divide Clerk is a KO card, not surprised. A cultist card. This one was very powerful, by the way. This Lunari cultist card gave so much value for like Pantheon Varus decks. It was a very strong card, so I'm not surprised it's gone. Draconic Bands. This was really funny if you played Categorin, and it would then give the buff to this as well. I don't think it would show it on here just when you played it. So when you played Categorin, it was +4/+4 to all dragons. So when you equipped this, your bearer would become a dragon, so it'd get +3/+3, and then it'd get +4/+4. So it didn't really see much play though, so the rotation's not going to matter. Zalani going because she's a Darkin. Yeah, just a very impactful, known for like Poro King in a finisher. Stuff like Evelyn, Kale when we had the Siren Song meta. Very impactful. So yeah, some decks are going to get hit by this, and they're going to have to find a way to finish. Seal and Steel. This card received a buff to make the card afterwards also cost 2, and it didn't really do anything. So yeah, still irrelevant. A cultist card, but it was a spell shield card for decks that are equipped. Was very strong. So yeah, the fact that this isn't here now, the only spell shields we'll have now are Bastion and Black Shield for Targon. So we'll have to see how they perform in Standard now. Another cultist that never saw any play, the Weapon Master, the Ionia Hook Master. This used to be a 2-mana 1/1 and was the most played card for probably like 2 to 3 weeks straight when people realized how broken it was. Yeah, so it got nerfed, and then it really did not see any play. But yeah, just rotating some Weapon Masters. So that's the second Weapon Master gone. So like Jack's decks are losing some there. Another cultist card that only saw a play in the cultist deck. So yep. Reveler's Feast. This card was insanely broken. Dan, if you're watching this, you knew how broken this was. It probably still is broken, but it being focus speed really impacted what it was doing for decks. You have to like preemptively play it now. But yeah, no, it's maybe they revert it in Eternal. Crimson Pigeon is kind of insane. This card was it didn't have this round. It used to grant +1/+1. So the fact that it's going, maybe they put it back to the old text, but like this card was very strong. I'm surprised that it's not staying here with Vladimir coming back. But it didn't see that much play towards the in Standard after the change. But yeah, maybe aggro there's less aggro now in Noxus, which is okay. Encore was really only brought when it was generated by Seraphine, but like we don't have that issue anymore because Seraphine's gone. So yeah, not run. Cultist card, so we skip it. Caustic Rift going. I really disliked this card when it was the old iteration, and I think it got perfectly nerfed. And then a lot of people stopped playing it, but I still think it was very strong where it was. But yeah, very impactful card. I think the player that played this the most was Seraphine BB. So that you could like play this and then you'd summon a barrel and it'd do 2 to everything, or 2 to all enemies. So yeah, maybe for those kind of decks, but those didn't really see any play towards the end anyway. High Note going. I mean, Seraphine got rotated, so it makes sense. But like this card was definitely played in Spellslinger decks, so that's very impactful. Zone Bouncer, never saw any play, like F. Acorn going, kind of big for the elusive decks, because you can no longer discount, can't discount Champion Strength anymore, but like Eye of the Storm, Heroic Refrain, so pretty big one there for it to be rotated. Seraphine we've talked about. Crowd Pleaser, it was only a generated card, I don't think anyone actually ran this. Inspired Plan. Did this ever actually get played? I don't think it did. I don't think it was. You couldn't accidentally generate it, and no one was running it. So yeah, crazy. Hexobliterator. Kind of surprised that this is going. This was like TNZ's like big damage for the region, rather than dealing like 2 damage and 1 damage over and over again. So yeah, they're gonna struggle a little bit, but we'll come back onto this topic later because there's something else that we need to talk about. Zorn Diva, Seraphine support that's being rotated. This is actually pretty good because when you play Clash of Giants, I think it's called, it won't summon her anymore because she's not in standard, so that's pretty good. Violent Discord, it's a cultist card, it never saw any play really. So yeah, next Kayn, Rise, Varus, Aatrox, Blooming Cultist, it's a cultist, so I think they took every single cultist card out, like I said before. So yeah, let's go in. Mecha Pulverizer, I think I've saw this card once since Eternal and Standard existed, and it was literally the other day. I don't know if you guys remember the game that we played against. It was for a video. I can't remember what we were playing, but they had this card and they played it and I was like, I genuinely have not seen this card in play. So yeah, not surprised there. Goodbye. Cultist card, this used to be, I think it used to be +5 plus, grow to a 5/5 instead. It was very strong. It was very, very strong. And then they nerfed it. Cultist, oh yeah, so that's a cultist. This is another cultist. So it's all of the cultists, and this is another cultist. So everything's going. Ranger Knight Defector, by the way, being taken is crazy, by the way. This card was extremely strong, but it's a cultist, so it's gotta go. But yeah, this card was a lot, very problematic towards certain people. Hated this card, which I don't blame them. This card is extremely strong. It's basically a 4-mana 4/4 because it's got tough. Yeah, it was just very powerful. So yeah, a lot of people are going to be happy about this one. This one's like how meta-defining it going to Eternal. This is like an A. This card saw a lot of play. Speaking of cards that saw a lot of play, this card, Fish Fight, this used to be 2 mana. Then it got to 3, and then it really never saw any play. Maybe it'll go back to 2. If it was at 2, this would be an extremely impactful meta-defining change. But because it's at 3, didn't really see that much play anymore. So yeah, a lot of people were just running the Grandmaster Jewel card. Can't think of what it's called. Gentleman's Jewel. Yep, Tellstones. I talked about this before. All of the Tellstones are going. So yep, we don't have to play around them anymore, which is going to be nice. Mainly the Shadow Isles, Ionia, and Freljord. There's 3 sisters he's going as well. So yeah, no, we'll see how impactful that is. Some decks like the Gwen Z, pretty sure run this, so it'll be interesting to see how they are done. Vora, we know that Evelyn is staying, but Vora is going, which I think was probably the worst Husk generator. So interesting. We'll see how the how Evelyn's performing in Standard now. Husks are problematic. I know the skilled Roy, when he was, I don't know if he still plays the game, but when he was playing the game, he hated Husks with like a burning passion. I kind of hated Husks. So yeah, very interesting to see what Evelyn's going to be doing. I have Nagaka Burrows, huge change. This card was very powerful for Alawi decks, for build water draw. It was, yeah, very, very powerful. And it is no longer there. So, impactfulness, an A. This card saw a lot of play. And yeah, not going to see it anymore. Swindle. Kuvi, hated Swindle before it got nerfed. And he'd always say to me, like, yo, this card, it's gonna get nerfed. People don't understand how broken it is. Then it became playable during Samira, and then Kuvi was like, oh my god, I'm gonna kill someone, this card is insane. Yeah, and then a lot of people caught on and it got nerfed. But yeah, maybe they rotate it and put it back. But yeah, impactfulness now, maybe a C, maybe a low B. Tellstones go in. Petricite Pillar, never really saw any play. The only thing I can remember was there was a guy in an EU tournament. I can't remember his name off the top of my head. And he brought every single spell increase card in the game. And yeah, no, he was just memeing the entire tournament. And I think he got quite high. I don't think he won, but he got quite high. And that's what I remember. When I see this card, I remember him. Royal Decree, I tried to make this card work so many times. It's so bad. It's... What are they doing? Why is it focus? Why... Like, I understand it's focus because, like... Challenger. But... Maybe, like, a burst speed block for Demacia when it was a 3/2. I don't know. It just... Yeah, this card was never good. I feel like it should do more for its mana cost. But, yeah. bad. And Tailstones, goodbye. Harbinger of Thralls. So, Lysandra is staying in Standard, and Talia is staying in Standard, but they're losing this card, which was pretty helpful for them. Maybe we might see the return of Thralls, especially cards coming in and coming out. But this was a very powerful card for Thralls, and this going means that Thralls are a little bit weaker. But with cards coming in and out, maybe Thralls just in general are stronger, so we'll see. Hunting Boar never saw any play after the rotation of Anivia, so not really important. Cracking Ice never really saw any play. Very fringe that you would want to run this card. It was Elemental, but it didn't really matter. Wildclaw Ferocity. This impacts Jack's Ornn quite a bit, because this was like the only deck that ran it, because if you had a unit with an equipment and then you used this, you most likely leveled Ornn. So very powerful. Ornn's going to level a little bit slower now in that specific deck. But this is like a high B, maybe a low A. The Maker never really saw any play, not surprised. Tailstones, Esmus is going because of Bard. Esmus was, well, it was just a Bard card really, but it was a decent card. But yeah, that explains why that's going. Winding Light going, it's Nightfall, so Aphelios is coming in, but Diana and Nocturne are out, so yeah. They just say that this is a Nightfall card rather than like an Aphelios card, even though this is like Crescendum, I think. So, Tailstones. So this one's actually impactful though, because they made it so you can't get Blessing of Targon anymore in Standard completely. So it's going to be very interesting, because this was actually a decent card. Mystic Vortex. Very strong card if you got it down on 2, if you could afford to play it on 2 without like losing too much tempo. A very good card. God, I hate Disintegrate. I hate most of the Noxus control as a mid-range player, which is probably why like people like Aikaido liked it, because he liked to kill mid-range decks. But Disintegrate going, I love it. Some people are going to be mad at this though, so yeah. Oh, next card I clicked by accident, but I messaged John and I said, I will not lie, when I saw that this card was rotated, a tear did leave the corner of my eye, a tear of joy. Man, I hated this card. Especially when Eddie came in, this card became such a problem. And the fact that he's just gone now, not even that Eddie's been nerfed where he's not that impactful, God, I love it. Never have to play against this man in Standard again. Well, maybe for a year, we'll see. Tailstones. Trifarian Training Pits, I tried to run this card a couple of times. Wasn't that good. Pretty powerful though if you can get it on board. But yeah, this is like a C. Total and Tailstones. Looking at all these Tailstones, I won't lie, you never realise how much Tailstones really saw play. There was like only like 3 that really never saw any play. But yeah, Tailstone's gone. Bard gone. Bird gone, which makes sense. Paper Tree never saw any play because they took attachments away, and you don't really want it. Even though it says attachments, it works for equipment, but like didn't really do anything. Drop the Bomb, pretty impactful for Broadmain decks, but because Broadmain's gone, it now you won't summon the landmark anymore, so like Talia gets slowed down a bit. So maybe we've seen Talia buffs in some deck. I don't know. But impactful nonetheless. Tailstones again. Buru Leader. Never really saw any play. Was supposed to be played with Alawi, but yeah, didn't really see much. Catalogue of Regrets didn't really see much play in Standard after they took Go Hard out, because this was like a Go Hard printing kind of concept. Well, that's how it got known for. So yeah, it's not going to be missed that much, I don't think. Servitude of Desolation. What a card. I think I'll just say that. What a card. I don't think we actually saw this in play once. Sorry, 1 second. I just need to cough my guts out because my voice is extremely dry and I do need a drink. So I am going to open a can of 7-Up because I've been speaking for 50 minutes non-stop. So I'm keeping this in the video because you guys need to take a drink as well. Stay hydrated. I'm on a sugar-free 7-Up. Watch out the Isles. I tried to play this in a deck that I don't know if I uploaded that video. I tried to play this in the deck. Surprisingly, does a lot of damage if your opponent like doesn't realize how much it's dealing. They do panic a bit, but it's funny. Not good, but funny. Darkness support going. Not surprised. Darkness. Technically darkness support. I tried to run this in like... Oh, it was a darkness deck that was built. It was like a full-on darkness deck with like the sentinels. Just never saw any play. No. Eula got buffed so that it could also like go onto her. But never really saw any play either. So, yeah, all of these are just like... No one's really going to notice. Fallen Reckoner? Was this even in standard? It must have been. I thought this was rotated. But, hey, it's rotating again. So, you know, let's go. For Glory, no, not many people ran this. I think it was mostly run in, like, Ash LeBlanc. Maybe? I don't know. Well, maybe I think it was run as a one-of. Interesting card design. It's 3 mana spell, because you wouldn't play it if it's not Reputation. It was a 3 mana spell to get like 4 mana worth of units. Interesting. Never saw any play. Officer Squad, never also saw anything. I think the only time you saw this in play was when Maokai Mill was like trying to exist, but it was bad. Station Archivist is going, which was a very, very impactful card for a long time. So the fact it's not going to be in standard anymore is going to be interesting to see. Didn't really see much play nowadays, but like back in the day, it was very, you saw it a lot. And Von Yip is just chilling here. Sump Fumes. I think this was like really good in Sunken Temple. I think as a one-of. You just won't have that anymore. Most Wanted, same thing with Maokai Mill. Feral Sky Cruiser. Literally, do not think I saw this card played once. At all. I actually kind of forgot this card existed for a while, so that's all I need to say. Hextech Handler is going. Interesting. This is the card I wanted to see if it was going. I'm quite surprised. It is a Jace card, but they've rotated it with Timer. Yeah, maybe this goes back to +1/+1. Because this was the nerf they did. +1/+1, and now it's +1/+0. But yeah, big change. Hextech Anomaly was really only a card that existed when you generated it from Reggie, Pharaoh's Financier. So yeah, I guess it being rotated makes the Reggie pool better in the sense of, but this was always good to pick because it could always become something you could want maybe. So I don't know, bit weird. Obelisk of Power. I actually had to search this up to see if this was in standard. This never really saw any play, so who's gonna care? Tail Cloak Matriarch is an Ari support card. Never saw any play, and since Ari's rotating, it's going. So off it goes. We've seen Pantheon. Camphor going because it's Pantheon support. Camphor, when I used to play Pantheon Varus, I always used to add this card as a 1 or a 2 of. It's very good. The Spell Shield, Overwhelm, and Challenger especially is just, those keywords are like prime keywords for a deck like that. So yeah, it's rotating with the others, so it's not that impactful in a sense, but like it was a very strong card. Pantheon support going. Shark Trainer. It just never saw any play. I just don't think it does anything. You get, what is it, the 4/2 with Overwhelm? That's what the short tooth is. But yeah, it's too expensive for the effect it does. So yeah, don't think this is going to see much impact. Trixie Tentacles was mainly coming from Conch, and especially in like Seraphine decks you'd see it because it get generated. So I don't think many people main decked it though, so not that impactful. Mega T surprisingly saw, I've seen it quite a little bit of play from, was it rotated anyway? I think because this doesn't have a thing, I might be wrong. I'll have to double check after the video and then check that I've got this right. But if this has been rotated, it's seen a little bit of play towards the end of like this yearly cycle. Sorry, I can't remember what deck I saw it in them, but yeah, it existed. So I guess it's going to impact that deck specifically. I cannot remember the deck. I can't remember even some of the champions. It was a Bandle deck, clearly. But yeah, apart from that, yeah. Talked about Yuumi. Trinket Trade has gone, which impacts the... What is the deck? It was the Elder Dragon with the Plaza Guardian. That was the deck. Because you could count it down really quick with the Trinket Trade. So yeah, none of that anymore, which is kind of meta impactful. Treasure Trash. It was a meme card that was ran in a very, very small amount of decks. So, yeah, it'll impact those and not much else. Darkness support being rotated, of course. Darkness. This was the card that I was talking about before. Twisted Catalyzer was the card that like made or broke Darkness. Like if you got this down and got it to hit twice, yeah, Darkness kind of snowballed from there. Yordles in Arms. Extremely problematic card when it was released. I think it used to give +4/+4, which was crazy, absolutely crazy, because it was like this. The condition was just not difficult at all. Now they're rotating it, so Bandle City go wide strategy will have to find something else to like buff up the units. Quicken, basically a Seraphine support. Like it says Kennen, like this is Kennen's followers here, but like it was mainly being used by Seraphine when she generated it, or you got like a Conch. It'd be a pick sometimes because you'd know that you'd want to save a unit. So kind of impactful that it's not there because it's a card that was chosen a few times. So I'd put this at like a B. Group Shot really didn't see much play after Pythos got introduced, but nonetheless it's still a little bit impactful. Yodel Portal, I don't think saw any play, so I don't think that's going to matter. Fate Aid doesn't matter. Journeying Sandhopper, if you asked me to name this card, you would have not had me saying anything close to this name. That's because I don't think anyone really sees it. Nami going, so yeah, these are all like Nami support cards, right? So Nami, Ebb's going, of course. Shelly's gone, oh my god, I didn't know. Shelly, the war criminal, he's going. Really saw not a lot of play after he lost a tune. But, you know, Shelly, you did your country proud. And, yeah. Oh. So, Galio is remaining, but they hit the Broadwing, which is probably fair, because this card was extremely powerful. Salute to the Broadwing. You'll be missed. But like I said, sometimes you have to lose some good cards yourself that you enjoy. Like, think of this. I lost Broadwing, but they lost Broadmane. Now, that's value. That's value. I'll take that. Durand Protege was normally, if you ran it, it was like it was a one-off in these kind of decks. Not really that good though, so not that impactful. Mammoth Shaman. I did this once in a Bethany deck. I think it's on YouTube. Interesting card. Not that good though. It did win me the game though. Bone Scryer being rotated out when Vladimir and Braun come back in. Is it interesting? So yeah, but didn't really see much play. Sus Speaker going, because Sejuani's leaving, but GP will miss this, so very impactful. Uday going, we've already spoke about that. Ari going, 9 lives going. This was very impactful for like Karma sets. They realized how strong this card was. And yeah, now Karma is going, but yeah, this is going kind of impactful because this was seen in meta-defining decks, so this is like an A for impact. Children of the Forest really didn't see much play even after it got buffed, because it used to be... It got this like recall on ally. It used to just be an 8-mana spell that had this, but they're like, hey, let's make it a 2-mana spell that recalls, or you can do this instead. Still never really saw play. Was only generated by Seraphine. Mask Mother didn't really see much play, even when Kindred was in standard. I think I can't remember a time it was playable. You could do some meme stuff with it, but nothing great. Spirit Leech. It is now a 4/2. This is an old image, so it's now a 4/2. It recently received a buff. Yeah, it was pretty okay in some of the decks that it was in, and it was normally as a 2-off. But yeah. Crawling Viper Worm. Didn't really see much play either, so yep, that's gone. Devoted Council is going. Didn't really see much play, so it's not that important. Ascended's Rise. Well, considering there's only 2 of them left, yeah, maybe we don't need this in standard anymore. Waking Sands. I didn't even know you can main deck this. So these are the Akshan support cards. Akshan support cards going, so not surprised. There's Akshan. Grappling Hook's going, so not even his card surviving. Wing and the Waves going is kind of impactful though, because a lot of decks ran this to like stall out the early game. Like, hey, if you don't have any overwhelm or any way to like go under or over me, like you're gonna have to get blocked by a 0/1, and it was very annoying to deal with like some mid-range decks. So that going is important. Clockling, I mean, I need to remove this because it's got no tag, but yeah, sure. Right to Dominance, didn't see any play. I've seen this more in Path of Champions than in PvP. So, Rek'Sai going, Lurker going, Promising Future. Interesting, I didn't know that this was going. So that comment about Thralls, they used to play this when it was 4 mana, and it got nerfed to 6. So yeah, just rotating now, goodbye. Shifting Sands is going. Don't think they saw any play, so not that bothered. Sandcrafter going, didn't really see much play, so not that bothered. Another Lurker. Renekton, another Lurker, another Lurker. Voice of the Risen has gone. Interesting. Wow. Echo Jinx is still in standard, and the fact that they've lost this card is very impactful. That deck is going to still exist, but not in the way that it is right now. Wow, very interesting. Call of the Pack go in. Rock Bear needs to be deleted from this because he's not a... He can't main deck it. Another Lurker, so all of the Lurker cards are going. There is no Lurkers remaining in standard. Honored Lord, didn't see any play, so it's not that big of a deal. Cataclysm going though is huge. This card saw so much play. Extremely powerful card, good with like any card that has quick attack, because you could like choose the trade and know you'd win it. So it forced them to have an answer. Very, very powerful. This is like maybe S on impact. So super powerful and impactful. Battlefield Prowess, awful card, absolutely awful. I think the only time this potentially saw any play was when people were playing it with Bethany, and that goes to show the fact that you could only get value if you doubled it up. Penitent Squire didn't really see much play in elite decks, so not surprised. Jarvan, and of course King Jarvan goes. Towering Stonehorn, I don't think I've ever seen him play. I actually do not think I've ever seen this card played in a game. So, says a lot. You can no longer main deck a Thrall. Interesting. So I wonder what's going on there then. Maybe Thralls get hit a bit because they know that it's going to be strong, but you can't main deck a Thrall now. Ooh, very interesting. Maybe Thralls... Huh? There's no Dark Lord Inquisitor? Alright, so you know what? This entire video, we've been going on for an hour now. This entire video, I've been like, yeah, maybe Thralls are playable. And like, this is the thing. I just uploaded these cards, and I know some of them, and then not paid attention to some. This is an example where I've been like, oh yeah, Thralls is kind of playable now. Nope. Your Dark Lord Inquisitor's gone. You've lost your Promising Future. You've lost your Harbinger of Thralls. You've lost your Thrallzone Thrall. Yeah, very impactful. Main deck Entomb is gone. Wow. So Entomb in general is just gone. No more Entombs. Kind of crazy. Three Sisters is gone. Succumb to the Cold has gone. Buried in Ice is gone? What? Oh, that makes me so happy. That makes me so happy. Maybe Freljord has had its dominance over the last couple of months, and Riot was like, no, we're killing this region now. Goodbye. Wow. Very, very impactful. Cold Resistance, not impactful. Not at all. This card was never seen any play. Spoils of War. I played this in Samira Sejuani, and it wasn't that powerful. Coastal Defender, really only seen play in Eternal anyway with the Zerarelia, so... Syncopation going, wow. This was like a really good tech card. You did get some cheese wins with it, so... Kinda, like, we'll put this at B if I had to rank it. Shadows of the Past really didn't matter. Heaven Aligned goes because of Diana, I assume, with the Nightfall. We already know LeBlanc. Incisive Tactician, of course it's going to go, but wow, this card was like a really, really good card for LeBlanc decks. So the fact that it doesn't even survive the rotation, pretty impactful. Thornblade, never really saw any play. Retired Reckoner, I think it went from 5 to 6. And then, yeah, it still never saw any play. Really good with Varus Samira, though. Time Winder, never really saw any play, it was mostly generated. Production Surge, of course it's going to go because Heimerlinger's gone, but they saw a good amount of play with Jace Heimer. Adaptatron is a tech, so yeah, that goes. Roiling Sands is not main deckable, so ignore this. Diana's going. Yeah, so Diana cards, all of the Nightfall cards here. Sunblast Vigor's going. Interesting thing, I don't know if you can see it. You can see it like kind of here. The first deck I got to Masters with was with a Tahm-Kench Soraka deck, and I main decked this card because it was kind of good in that deck, but yeah, there's no TK, there's no Soraka, so understandable. These are the Riven support cards. Noxcry Arena's going. Didn't really see any play either. This did though, but Riven's going, so I'm not surprised. Brutal Hunter, never really saw any play either. Weapon Hilt, Riven. Sharpened Resolve, don't think you main deck this. The Basilisk Bloodseeker. So this would have been interesting because Scargrounds is coming back, and this was sometimes included, like depending on the meta. So interesting that it's going. Didn't really see any play apart from that one deck, so the fact it's coming back, but this is going, interesting. Apprehend, well, Darius is going, so of course Apprehend's going. Main deck Aftershock. Now, if I had to put this on how impactful this is going literally at the top, next to Champion Strength. Yeah, very impactful card. You can't get it from Tellstones. You cannot get main deck it anymore. Very, very impactful. Very, very impactful. I'm glad to see it, though, personally. Armed Gearhead, but no one cared. Nocturne. Is it rude to say no one cared? Crumble. Yeah, no Tellstones, no Crumble. Interesting. Duskrider going because of Nightfall. Passenger Unearned. Never really saw any play after Fielder Rush got taken out of Standard because it was just a good card to deal with that 12 mana play, and you punish it with a 3 mana spell. Monkey Business. Didn't really see any play in Standard. Yeah, pretty bad. Boom Ship. Surprised they've rotated this with GP coming back. Would have been interested to maybe try some decks with this, but it never really saw any play anyway, so. Wiggly Burblefish. So, I didn't know this was here, so this is a really good one to see. Drizzoth used to, probably still does love this card. With Elder Dragon, it became pretty annoying again. Even this card has been nerfed like 5 times in 17 different ways. God, this was a card. This was one of the cards of Legends of Runeterra. This is a pretty impactful change. Powder Pandemonium. This used to be a 4-mana card, by the way, that also gave everything vulnerable. Just to let everyone know. So the fact that this is 7 mana now, and yeah, maybe you could put it back to 6, but interesting that they decided to get rid of this, because Misfortune's staying. So we've lost Powder Pandemonium, and we've lost Monkey Business now. So, interesting. For the Fallen, this was a very funny tech card to include in Elite decks, but never really saw any play. Icequake, you never really saw this in play. Monastery, you never saw it in play. Singular Will was literally only played in the High Show deck. The Grappler loved. He loved this deck. So yeah, that's going. And kind of impactful for that deck. Flurry of Fist, never really saw any play. Interesting card, but yeah, just never saw any play. Moonlight Affliction, going because of Nightfall. Interesting. This was a pretty strong card. So, well, yeah, makes sense it's going. Stellarcorn, an okay to bad card. It had its very like niche decks that it wants to be played in, but I don't think any of those decks were standard. Interesting. Zenith Blade going, which you wouldn't see in play anyway, which means the Ravoon generation is better with this, I guess, because there's no longer this in. You didn't want this, so that's pretty good. Astral Protection is going. I don't think if any deck actually ran this that wasn't Time Against Soraka. I don't think so. Another Nightfall card. Pool Shark going. Wow. So this is probably an A, like an high A, because this was played in Neela decks when you had a Miriam available, because you draw the fleeting card, and then you could like updraft it to like as a free thing, basically. Like you get a free updraft to get 3 mana or an extra draw. So more Powder, never really saw any play. It was a generated card anyway. Coral Creatures because of Nami's rotation, so makes sense. The Siren going. Why is Siren going? I guess it was just a bad card, but like interesting. Razor Scale Hunter. So these are like MF. There's a lot of MF support that's leaving. Interesting. Double Trouble. Nami card, really. Well, in the past it was a Nami card. Chum the Waters. Sure. Can't never saw any play. Shell Shocker going. Oh no, that impacts my set Jack deck. Shell Shockers was pretty good. This is basically just like a free cost card. So, interesting that it's going. Deep card that got taken? Did they even run this? I don't think they did. Fizz going, Jailbreak going, Playful Trickster going. So there's no Rally anymore. Main deck Riptide is going. Jagged Taskmaster. None of these cards right now. I'm trying to go through these a little bit quicker. Wow. Island Navigator's going. So MF is remaining, but a lot of her support is going. Very interesting. Scout's going. This one was pretty bad. Unyielding Spirit would make sense because Quinn got rotated. Quinn, Sejuani, Spirit Walker. Alright, and then we're back at the start. So, we're an hour and 10 minutes in, and we only have the cards that are returning. But yeah, this is the full list. Yeah, there's a lot of cards here. Some of the cards that I personally like to see go in: Broadmain, Disintegrate, Seraphine, Karma. Yeah, but roughly about 300 cards, because there were some cards that were in there that need to get taken out. But yeah, roughly 300. Like the Rock Bear needs to get removed to get rid of any confusion for people. Same with like Rolling Sands. Hi guys, I just wanted to butt in quickly because as I was editing this video, I realised there were some cards that I remember seeing being rotated and they weren't actually there when I was recording. So I've rearranged the website and broken down into sections per region. I found a way how to do it. It's much cleaner this way. It's not in order, but at least they're per region. So there's some cards that you might see here that I didn't comment on. The mains one, like there's a couple of main ones. The main one is the Darkin equipment. All of the Darkin equipment are going because Aatrox is being rotated, and he's the one that brings those cards to the game. So all of the Darkin equipment are going. So you can see here for Bilgewater we have the Darkin Harpoon. For Vandal City we have the Darkin Staff, and every other one, Darkin Aegis. They all go along. I'm trying to see if there's any other cards. Stuff like Detain, I don't think we talked about. Wasn't really seen in play anyway. Relentless Pursuit, which was Lucian's champion spell, that's been rotated. It didn't really see much play anyway, and we're getting Golden Ages back. Oh, spoiler, you haven't seen yet, but yeah, you'll see that. But one of the main ones, which is like I was lying in bed yesterday and I was like, I didn't really see anything. Is yes, War Mother's Call is being rotated. I don't remember talking about it. Maybe I did, and I just completely forgot about it. But yes, War Mother's Call is being rotated. A very meta-prevalent card, especially after it got buffed to 11. I'm clearly using the old card data here. So yeah, that Battle Fury, Tusk Raider, Avaros and Hearthguard, Starlit Seer, all cards that you kind of do associate with the region. The Darkened Spear. I'm just going to go down and see if there's anything I missed quickly. The Darkin fans. The Darkin changes are actually quite big. Whirling Death is being rotated. Savage Reckoner's going. Brothers Bond. Elixir of Wrath. See if there's anything else I missed. Like, there's a few cards that I did miss. And they are all very impactful cards. I think the main one being equipment going is really big. It means that cards that really like the equipment just don't get it anymore. So I can't think of them off the top of my head, but yeah, there is a few. One of the big ones is yes, Rekindler is gone. There is no Mordekaiser printer in standard anymore. Thank God. This was a very big one that I completely forgot about, and when I was re-uploading the cards I was like, how did I miss this? How did I completely disregard it? So this is a huge one. Talking about rankings, this is an S. This is clearly an S for how important that one was. And then yeah, Bloodblasters was an insane card that saw a lot of play. So yeah, it's going to be very interesting to see how the meta is adapting now to all of these cards being rotated. Yeah, and that's it really. So only a few that I missed, but some that were very, very impactful. So yes, we're going to send you back to Marshall a day ago. Okay, and now we move on to the following Eternal cards will come back to standard. So, like I said, I don't want to spend forever doing this. So we already know about Lulu. Chemist coming back is really good for Talia. Pretty good, strong card. Purpleberry Shake will be good for like Teemo decks maybe. It was always a good card for them to like tech in because no one would really play around it. So we'll see. Not Yodel Newbie, not going to be important. Yodel Smith, I might see play with Galio, with like Formidables, but yeah, we'll see. Flame Spitter, I don't think it's going to be that important. Prowling Projectile is like a ping for Bandle, but I don't think it's going to be good. Entrapment was a pretty decent card for Teemo decks, so it's good that it can come back. Hothead, pretty mediocre. Spirit Portal, pretty mediocre as well. It got buffed to 3, I'm fairly sure, so like it's more playable now. Loping Telescope was a pretty good card when it was 2 mana, so maybe it can find its footing as a 3 mana card in Standard. Wizened Wizard, yeah, this is a card, sure. Stress Defense, pretty good card to have, good for like big overwhelmed decks. You can counter those. Ember Monk, I actually lost this card in a game, and I was so upset because this card just overpowered me. It was insane. But, yeah, maybe we'll see some more play. Scholarly Climber. Sorry, struggling to read that then. Sure, I don't think it sees much play. Pretty decent stats. Good thing. So you could put, like, just buff this up, and it would become pretty powerful. Risu is returning. Risu is an extremely strong card, so the fact that it's coming back and brings the Storm card with it, very, very powerful. This is like quite high up. Arena Mechacaster, sure. I don't think it does much though. So these are the bundle cards, so we go on to Bilgewater now. Gangplank, Ebon Wand, pretty decent card for Bilgewater, pretty good. Golden Narwhal, pretty bad card, we're not that bothered. Monkey Idol, so you get a little bit of MF support back, but not, Double Up, which is basically Decimate for Bilgewater. Cheaper Decimate, and it's fast. So, yeah, maybe people like Wick can enjoy this. Dreadway, of course, comes back with GP. Fiora, speaking of Wick, Wick is a good Fiora player. Oh, he enjoys Fiora. Is pretty happy about that. Dragon Chow, so dragons were already pretty decent, and now we're giving them Dragon Chow back, which is crazy. I'm not gonna lie, kind of crazy. Mage Seeker Conservator, sure. This is pretty good again for Poppy Taric, but Poppy's not back in Standard, so maybe Taric can pick this up. But I'd rather play the other 3 mana card, the one that gives you like the landmark destruction or the equipment destruction, because you lose 1 health, but you get like the choice of those cards. So yeah, pretty good. Vanguard Redeemer. Hey, look, an elite. Elite can play this again. Woo! Lauren Bladekeeper. Sure. This card exists. I don't think it's good, though. Petricite Stag. This card exists, but I don't think it's good. This card exists, but I don't think it's good. This card exists. This is pretty decent for when you summon a random 5 cost with that Demacia card. The 6 cost Demacia card. Remembrance. This is a pretty good pull from it. They listened. I wanted Champion Strand out and Golden Aegis in, and they did it. They actually did it. Siva is gonna love this. Yeah, I love this. I love this card. It was so good. Taric. This is why I love Taric coming back. Taric and Golden Aegis. Oh yes, we've done it. We've done it. Swiftwing Lancer is coming back. So sure. Citra of the Bold was a card that I actually played in my Elite decks before, so I'm happy about that. Stalking Broodmother, maybe you can play it in some Dragon decks. Because it has Scout, you can kind of level Elder Dragon faster, so be interesting to see if they adopt that card. Bright Steel Formation, a very strong late game card. Shen Fiora is back. This used to be like their big late game card. Maybe we'll see that in play again. Brahms returning. And then the Unscarred Reaver for things like Scargrounds. Troll Scavenger was a very, very strong card. You should see this played in some ramp decks. Scargrounds, of course. Take Heart Realm spell. The self-damage archetype. Rhinefang Wolf coming back is really strong, by the way. Ash losing LeBlanc, but getting this should be very strong for that deck. Tarkaz for the self-damage. Self-damage again. Kind of crazy that this is coming back, because this card is extremely strong with Elder Dragon in Eternal, and the fact that it's in Standard now is very, very scary. Yasuo. So you get Health Potion, Pix, and Flower Child. So these are all like the Lulu support cards coming in. Green Glade Lookout coming back. Pretty good. This was a pretty decent card. Fuzzy Caretaker. Pretty good for like support trains, but apart from that, yeah. Ritual Renewal coming back. but Telstone's leaving, so there's a bit of healing in Ionia now with a health pot and the Ritual of Renewal. Kinku Lifeblade, sure. Don't think that card's pretty good. Scattered Pot's back though. Pretty good for spell decks that don't exist anymore because Karma and Seraphine are gone, but yeah, maybe people can have fun with that. And the Windswept Hillock has returned, as well as Gioan. And Vladimir brings back the Crimson Bloodletter, Blade's Edge, Crimson Aristocrat, the Legion Grenadier, Arena Bucky, Noxian Guillotine, Thorn of the Rose. Arachnoid Sentry is a very powerful one, by the way. Very, very powerful. So they're going to like that. Crowd Favourite, and Survival Skills, and Shumpo. So a couple of rallies, and you get a Captive Yeti, which, sure? Bit random, this one. But yeah, powerful ones for this one are like, Shumpo's pretty decent, Sentry's pretty good, and Noxian Guillotine is surprisingly strong. So, yeah, and also Vladimir. Vladimir is just the best one, by far. Vi's coming back. So here we go. Hextech Obliterator. I said we're gonna talk about it again. Thermal Beam is back. Yeah, this card was very, very good when it was in Standard, and it probably is still going to be very, very good when it has returned to Standard. A lot of people probably just forgot about this card existing, but yeah, this, like, the knowing you had this card so you can play into it is very good. Stress Testing. I don't know why that's coming back, but sure. Eager Apprentice is basically just a 0 mana card. 0 mana 2-1. Maybe it's better than we think. Flash of Brilliance comes back, because Hibernanger got rotated, so it'll be interesting to see what happens there. Used Cast Scalesman, so you get like 3 blockers for the price of 3 and 2 health. Interesting. Patrol Wardens are going to be very strong in Sunken Temple decks, by the way, so make sure you run it. Assembly Bot was a very powerful card for spell slinging Piltover decks. I'm not too sure if we're going to have much of those anymore, but it's a good card. Hexcore Foundry, so this was using like Caitlyn Teemo. So if you want to use the 3, you can either use this or you can use the 4 mana card that we got. I can't think of the name, but yeah. But that one discards, so I'd probably stick with that one. Defective Swap Bot. Surprisingly, a very powerful card, by the way. So, yeah, this is going to be frustrating when your opponent does have it as a one-off. And Static Shiv returns. Static Shiv, Static Shock. So, yeah, it's going to be very interesting to see what's going to happen here. Because this was a very strong card back in the day. I don't know if it's maybe been power crept a bit, but yeah, we'll see. Glorious Evolution coming back is kind of scary. This card is very powerful. If you try to set up something and they do this, it's like, oh, they get the best value for money. Very, very expensive, but it's definitely worth it if you can get your cards to like 0 cost and you can just like get everything with Augment, like growing. So Thresh and Hecarim, you get the Oblivious Islander, which is okay. Haunted Relic, Onslaught of Shadows, Iron Harbinger. Maybe you'll see this in some ephemeral decks, but not great. Blighted Caretaker is very powerful. Do not sleep on this one. Good with Thresh, very powerful. The box, pretty good for, well, just clearing boards out for decks like Poros and stuff like that. You can kill them pretty quick. Stirred Spirits. Like I said, you might find an ephemeral deck with this. Same with the Iron Harbinger. So, sure. And that's it for Shadow Elves. Shurima. Shapestone's coming back because Akshan is gone. This was a very powerful card. It will still be powerful when you play it now. Rite of the Arcane was an extremely powerful card. There's less landmarks now, but like you can now maybe look at like a Talia deck and have a decent damage card to go. Rite of Passage is coming back. But Zillion's not coming back, so I'm not too sure what's going on there, but sure. I guess it's going like a Talia deck where you can like summon a landmark and then use a Rite of Arcane on it. Who knows? Talos Bonecrusher, sure, you kind of taken reputation in a different direction because LeBlanc's gone, but sure. Unworthy, I kind of want to see if people can make this playable in a deck, because it's 2 mana kill a follower an enemy follower, which is very, very powerful. You do have to get that mana gems down, though. So maybe I'll try and cook a deck with this. Desert's Wrath is going back to standard, buffed version of it, which is the 3 mana version, and Azir is staying. So maybe there's going to be a full-on Sand Soldier deck. We did see that some Sand Soldier cards got taken out, but maybe Azir can pop off. Careful Prep. Maybe there's like an Echo deck, like an Echo Jinx deck that's running this now. We'll see. Aphelios and Taric come back, so we get Messenger Sigil, Ground Slam, Mountain Sojourners. We love this card. Very, very good. Mountain Goat, probably Targon's, like, one of Targon's best followers. The value this gets of just, like, giving you something to discard, or, like, you can buff up a unit or something like that. Very good. Ibex for Taric deck's pretty good. Temple returns because of Aphelios. Earth Elemental, so this is good for Malphite. Star Chart comes back, but I don't know if you're going to be running this as a main deck. Aphelios support, obviously. Arbiter is coming to standard, which is kind of crazy considering how strong it is in Eternal with Elder Dragon, because it like counts the targeted from the Elder Dragon boons. So very, very interesting to see how that's going to get picked up. Mentor of the Stones, sure. Don't think it's already played. Starbone. So like you've got the Messenger Sigil, and you have Messenger Sigil to get 5 messengers in your deck, and then we have Starbone. Maybe we can do some printing there. Make a deck. And then we have Bard. Wait, these shouldn't be here. Bard, Aatrox, Kayn, Varus, and Ryze should not be at the bottom because they're all leaving rather than coming back. So ignore these because they are not there. So I'll fix that now. But yeah, we go back to Lulu and we're back at the start. So good that I've done this run through because I can go through and fix the website a bit. But I hope you guys enjoyed this video. We are at 1 hour and 23 minutes. I tried to keep it pretty short, just give my opinions on the format and what's going on. I am very excited to see Standard now. It's going to be a whole different like environment, especially with the expansion coming out, which we should get the reveal season roughly starting tomorrow. So keep your eyes out on the LoR report for updates there, or you can check the main Twitter account for Play Runeterra. And with that being said, that is it for this video. Thank you for watching, and I will see you guys maybe tomorrow, maybe the next day for reactions to champions, new cards, and stuff like that. So thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time, guys.